Crucifixion is just as much about shame and humiliation as it is about physical agony. During the darkest moment of his life, he draws on his knowledge of the Psalms, which should be a lesson for us. He's hanging there. He's nearing death. He's enduring the shame of the cross. And he says, quotes Psalm 22, my God, why have you forsaken me?" I love that song that we sang before communion. That line is so touching and so painful. In that song, how deep the Father's love for us, when it says, the Father turns his face away. And then still on the cross, the last example up here, Luke tells us that in his final moment before death, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And Luke says, with that, he breathed his last. And like I said, these are only half, a little less than half of the times that Jesus quotes Psalms. And he's not, notice, most of the time, if you look at these and the other 6, Jesus isn't quoting them in so much as like, well, here's a scholarly point I wanted to bring up in this instance. He's quoting them a lot of times as a human reaction to what he's experiencing. These Psalms were embedded in his soul. And so as we spend 6 weeks looking at the Psalms, and like I said, Psalms for all seasons, let's also remember that each Psalm we look at is something that Jesus knew intimately, a Psalm that Jesus knew intimately. And let's try to empathize with his sorrow and try to empathize with his joy as we look through these. This is my childhood dog, Buddy. He was a weird dog. He was half Cocker Spaniel, half Poodle, but we were good friends. And when I was 9 years old, Buddy was in the backyard, and the gate was left open, which leads to the street, and Buddy ran into the street and was hit by a car and was killed. And I had a lot to work out emotionally during that time. And I think not long after that, I was in class at school, and they required us to write a book. And it looks like I used that as an outlet for things I needed to express. And I bring this up because this is what we see in the Psalms a lot, right? People going through things. When we look through that today, we'll see, people, the author of Psalm 88 was going through some things. And so I want to share with you my first ever book. I sent it to several publishers. It never got any traction. It's called My Old Dog Buddy. They said something about it being too disturbing and not appropriate for children. And the spelling threw them off as well. Dedicated to the Sewell family. I'm going to read it to you. On August 26th, 1994, my dog Buddy got run over by a car and died. It all started when I was spending the night at Matt Rimp's house. The next day, my brother Josh drove to the house to pick me up and take me home. He said that he had some bad news for me. It was that my dog Buddy got run over by a car and died. And you can see I'm there crying on the couch. I really, really miss him. He was a good dog. My Aunt Amy was flying in at the time. She couldn't help either. No one could. I cried for 4 hours or even more nonstop. This is just when I offer a blanket apology Just, yeah, every type of apology. I'm very mad at the person who left the gate open. That's how Buddy got loose and died. And then I like to think, looking back 30 years later, I like to think this little sun on this page symbolizes like new hope, right? I like to think that somewhere deep down, that's what my little 9-year-old self was thinking. But we're going to get into the Psalms of Lament today. And before we get into lament, I want to introduce it as a concept. Years ago, we had Dr. Glenn Pemberton come up here and spend a weekend with us talking about lament. Some of you will remember that. And his book, Hurting with God, Learning to Lament with the Psalms, had just come out. One short quote, and I'm going to share a longer quote from him in a moment. One short quote that I think sums it up so well. He says, "Lament gives a voice to those who are holding on to faith by their fingernails." And I know in a room this size and those watching online that there are people here who we are barely holding on to belief in God. Or we're so angry with God that we're barely holding on to a desire to have anything to do with him. And if that's not you today, that's okay. This message is mostly for those of us who are in a season like that, or who one day will be in a season like that. So I want to share this longer quote from Pemberton. I think it's one of the more inspired paragraphs from his book, and he's describing the boundaries of lament in the Psalms. He says, "As long as the language is honest, the book of Psalms does not exclude, deny, or cover up the hardships present in the lives of believers. We are mortal, with bodies that are prone to weakness," and you can see he's going to cite Psalms after each thing he lists, "disease and pain. As believers, we experience disappointments in life and the darkness of depression. We have people in our lives who, by no fault of our own, have become our enemies. They lie about us, take us to court, scheme to cause us trouble, or shame us, and try to take advantage of us at our weakest moments. We have lifelong friends who abandon us at our time of greatest need, who turn on us and who return trouble for all the good we have done for them. And sometimes, even God confuses us, a God who all too often seems absent and unresponsive when we most need him, who does not intervene in the world or in our lives in the way that we would expect, or is far slower to act than we would hope, and on occasion, a God who behaves in such bizarre ways that we are left wondering about his faithfulness. All of these struggles and more are at the heart of lament. Nothing is out of bounds, nothing held back, nothing taboo. These Psalms teach us that there is nothing a believer may not say to God in lament, as long as the lament matches the honesty of our praise. And so I'm going to share two modern day examples of lament before I get to Psalm 88. And these are from songs. The first one is a lament that resolves, unlike Psalm 88. But many laments in the Psalms do resolve. The author comes back to praise at the end. And so that's what we're going to start with. It's a song by Andrew Peterson. Gilbert and I played this song right before the sermon we preached on suicide a handful of years ago. Here's what he says. "I tried to be brave, but I hid in the dark. I sat in that cave and I prayed for a spark to light up all the pain that remained in my heart, but the rain kept falling. Down on the roof of the church where I cried, I could hear all the laughter and love, and I tried to get up and get out, but a part of me died, and the rain kept falling." He says, I'm scared if I open myself to be known, I'll be seen and despised and be left all alone. So I'm stuck in this tomb and you won't move the stone. And the rain keeps falling. Somewhere the sun is a light in the sky, but I'm dying in North Carolina and I can't believe there's an end to this season of night. And the rain keeps falling down. There's a woman at home and she's praying for a light. My children are there and they love me in spite of the shadow I know that they see in my eyes. And the rain keeps falling. I'm so tired of this game, of these songs of the road. And I'm already ashamed of the line I just wrote, but it's true and it feels like I can't sing a note. And the rain keeps falling down. And this is where he's going to start to resolve. A little bit later in the song, he says, my daughter and I put the seeds in the dirt, and every day now we've been watching the earth for a sign that this death will give way to a birth. And the rain keeps falling down on the soil where the sorrow is laid, and the secret of life is igniting the grave. And I'm dying to live, but I'm learning to wait. And the rain keeps falling down. In this next song, the other modern day example I will give is an example where the lament does not resolve, and it's from Adele. This is a song called A Million Years Ago. She says, I only wanted to have fun, learning to fly, learning to run. I let my heart decide the way when I was young. Deep down, I must have always known that this would be inevitable. To earn my stripes, I'd have to pay and bare my soul. She says, I know I'm not the only one who regrets the things they've done. Sometimes I just feel it's only me who can't stand the reflection that they see. I wish I could live a little more, look up to the sky, not just the floor. I feel like my life is flashing by, and all I can do is watch and cry. I miss the air, I miss my friends, I miss my mother. I miss it when life was a party to be thrown, but that was a million years ago. She says, when I walk around all of the streets where I grew up and found my feet, they can't look me in the eye. It's like they're scared of me. I try to think of things to say, like a joke or a memory, but they don't recognize me now in the light of day. And again, she says, I know I'm not the only one who regrets the things they've done. Sometimes I just feel it's only me who never became who they thought they'd be. I wish I could live a little more, look up to the sky, not just the floor. I feel like my life is flashing by, and all I can do is watch and cry. I miss the air, I miss my friends, I miss my mother. I miss it when life was a party to be thrown, but that was a million years ago. Now we're going to get to Psalm 88. If you'd like to listen, that's wonderful. If you'd like to find it on your phone or in your Bible, that's wonderful too. Here's some things I'd like you to listen for. What does Heman, the author of the psalm, indicate about his physical health? What does he indicate about his mental well-being? What does he indicate about his spiritual health and about his social connection? Choose one or none of those things to listen for. He writes, O Lord, the God who saves me, day and night I cry out before you. May my prayer come before you. Turn your ear to my cry, for my soul is full of trouble, and my life draws near to the grave. I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am like a man without strength. I am set apart with the dead, like the slain who lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, who are cut off from your care. You have put me in the lowest pit, in the darkest depths. Your wrath lies heavily upon me. You have overwhelmed me with all your waves. You have taken from me my closest friends and have made me repulsive to them. I am confined and cannot escape. My eyes are dim with grief. I call to you, O Lord, every day. I spread out my hands to you. Do you show your wonders to the dead? Do those who are dead rise up and praise you? Is your love declared in the grave, your faithfulness in destruction? Are your wonders known in the place of darkness, or your righteous deeds in the land of oblivion? But I cry to you for help, O Lord. In the morning, my prayer comes before you. Why, O Lord, do you reject me and hide your face from me? From my youth, I have been afflicted and close to death. I have suffered your terrors and am in despair. Your wrath has swept over me. Your terrors have destroyed me. All day long they surround me like a flood. They have completely engulfed me. You have taken my companions and loved ones from me. The darkness is my closest friend. Some scholars suggest that Psalm 88 is actually the beginning of Psalm 89. It's not. Psalm 88 is a psalm of brokenness. And the many people who God used to compile this book of Psalms over the years that they were working on that saw fit to leave it where it is. Despite what it says about God or what the person is feeling at the time, Jesus himself would have been intimately familiar with this psalm, with this language of darkness. And when we think about those four things, there's a lot we could say about the person's physical health. He gives a lot of indications. He even gives some indications about his mental well-being, where he is in life. He says he's in despair. He gives some indications about how he views God, his spiritual health, and then also about his social connectivity. But what I want to say for his spiritual health is that often, and we don't know what all was going on in Heman's life. He's only mentioned one other time in the Bible. But from a spiritual health standpoint, I admire him. Because a lot of times, when I am getting anywhere close to feeling how he's feeling toward God, I don't pray. I don't write toward God. I don't pray verbally, quietly, or in written form. He kept the relationship open. And sometimes there's going to be a moment in life, probably for all of us, where the only thing we want to say to God, if we're brave enough to say anything, might be something similar to what we just read, which doesn't end with hope, but ends with something like, the darkness is my closest friend. And even before that, you, God, you put me in this position. So there's those things. I want to focus on the social connection for a moment as we wrap up. I don't know if social connection was Heman's cause of a lot of his pain or if it was a result of a lot of his pain. We will never know until maybe we get to talk with him. But one thing that we see is he's alone. Whatever he's going through, he's in it on it. At least he feels he's in it by himself, on his own. When I think of a Surgeon General's warning, I'll admit that my mind usually goes straight to cigarettes. in my lifetime, that's been the biggest news story, about regarding a Surgeon General's warning is having to do with the danger of smoking. And I was surprised to find in preparation for this message that we actually have a fairly new Surgeon General's warning about loneliness and isolation. And what we see up here are not just things that the Surgeon General kind of thought, I bet isolation is dangerous, but this is a result of study. He put out a warning because research showed that isolation is adding to mortality or increasing mortality. And he noticed the trends, and you can see them here. Up in the upper left, we see the only thing increasing on these graphs is a negative thing. Social isolation in the past 20 or so years has gone up from 2003 to 2020. And think about how much worse this would be if the results went past 2020, because we know what happened in the world. Household, family, social engagement has gone down. Companionship has gone down. Social engagement with friends has gone down. And I want to note there, we could also show slides about how as social engagement goes down, people's engagement in social media goes up. They tend to engage with social media the lonelier they are. And yet studies show that after they engage with social media, what do they feel? They feel lonelier. Non-household family social engagement and social engagement with others have gone down. And then this other graph from the Surgeon General's advisory. Lacking social connection is as dangerous as smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. You can see things that are less dangerous as far as these studies than lacking social engagement. Air pollution, obesity, less dangerous. Physical activity, less dangerous. Drinking 6 alcoholic drinks daily, smoking up to 15 cigarettes, all less dangerous. I love my children. But if you're asking me right now, and I know you wouldn't, would I choose for them substance abuse or loneliness? I'm going to choose substance abuse. That's not condoning it in any way. It's a terrible disease of addiction and everything. But we just see what this shows us is the danger of not having anyone, of feeling abandoned by God. Here's the challenge I want to leave us all with. You know someone who is lonely. If we take a moment, you can think of that person right now, or maybe multiple people. And what I want to challenge is sometime in the next 48 hours, you create a meaningful communication with that person. Even if you don't have time to see them in person, which maybe you do. But reach out to them in some other way. Listen. Make sure they know they're heard by you. Also, you may be lonely. And so my challenge to you, if that's the season of life you're in, is you choose a safe person to confess that to. And think critically about who you're going to share that with, because I know that's a big step. Reflect on the last series where 2 Sundays we talked about how Jesus takes personally our actions toward the least of these. A lot of the people he listed in those scenarios would have been people who are lonely. And as we think about who we're going to contact in the next 2 days, let's think about how we're not doing it only for them. We're doing it for Jesus.
Amen. As we sing this next song together, if you want to talk to somebody, if you want to have a meaningful social connection right now, we have shepherds, we have prayer warriors who would love to meet with you in the back and pray with you. If you're online and you need to send a DM or drop us a comment, any of those things are very acceptable. Or if you, sitting here in the pew, want to go back and reach out to us online later, that's okay too. We want to be a people of prayer. We want to be a people who fight for you and with you in prayer. So this is this moment, this time that you can do that. Please stand with us as we sing. How I long to breathe the air of heaven, where pain is gone and mercy fills the streets, to look upon the one who led to save me and walk with him for all eternity. And there will be a day when all will bow before him. There will be a day when death will be no more. Standing face to face with he who died and rose again. Holy, holy is the Lord. And every prayer we prayed in desperation, the songs of faith we sang through loud and free. In the end, we see that it was worth it when he returns to wipe away our tears. Sing, there will be a day, church. Oh, there will be a day when all will bow before him. There will be a day when death will be no more. Standing face to face with he who died and rose again. Holy, holy is the Lord. And on that day, we join the resurrection and stand beside the heroes of the faith. With one voice, 1,000 generations sing, worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Sing that again. And on that day, we join the resurrection
If you'll pray with me. Lord, you are holy, and Lord, we look forward so much to the day when your light will shine in all the dark places, in all the world, and in all that you have created, as your love heals all that is broken, Lord. We so look forward to that time, because Lord, right now we do see so much brokenness. We see so much hurt. We feel so much hurt. Lord, show us how you are healing. Open our eyes to the way that you are moving in the world now, to the eternal life that you have bestowed on us now, to the eternity that we are a part of now. Lord, open our eyes to that and make us your hands in the world.
Two. There we go. I have Zach's book up here, so if anybody is wanting this, I will gladly auction this off starting at the highest bidder right now. So, Zach, thank you for opening us up with this incredible series. Oh, dang it. Hey, you don't work here anymore. You're not supposed to do that. But thank you, Zach, for opening us up in this series in a very strong way. I think that the older we get, the more we mature, the harder the Psalms get to understand. And so I very much appreciate you walking us through a very complicated psalm in such a delicate way. And so I'm excited for the rest of the series. I hope you are as well. My name is James Masterson, for those of you who don't know who I am, and I'm the youth minister here, and we want to extend a very special welcome to you. If you are a guest this morning, we would love for you to scan that QR code and give us the opportunity to just journey along life with you. Zach Sewell would love to meet up with you to get some coffee, have some lunch, and just see how we can partner together in this kingdom. And so make sure you get that scanned and filled out, and we will reach right back out to you. We also have a very big initiative that we've taken on, which is providing Thanksgiving meals for families in the community who may not otherwise have the opportunity to share a meal together. And so if you are willing to bring canned donations or sponsor an entire meal basket, we want you, as soon as we're done in here, to go out to the foyer, find Tyrone, and he will explain to you what this means to those families when they receive this basket and this donation. You can also give financially to that cause through the app or online by selecting the Thanksgiving basket option. So make sure you make that a priority. And then speaking about Michael and our lasts that are happening here in the building, we have our last chili cook-off in the building. Don't worry, this is not the last chili cook-off ever, but this Wednesday in the fellowship hall, it will be an incredible opportunity to fellowship, to enjoy some delicious chili. So please bring your favorite recipe, your best recipe. Come ready to beat Ronnie, even though he didn't win last year. I hear that he's coming for the victor last year, right? So make sure that you make this opportunity very, very special. And now we want to talk about what is coming next. Believe it or not, we have been working on our plans for what it's going to look like for us at Pioneer Trail. But some stuff has just slowed us down, but then the last couple of weeks have moved exponentially quicker than we had hoped. And so we are so excited to start inviting you into the next steps of this journey. And so next Sunday, we're going to have a volunteer booth set up where we're asking for people to walk alongside us in this journey. When we go to Pioneer Trail, it's not just going to magically set itself up. It's going to require the entire church coming together to make sure that every Sunday when we meet, we have a space to meet in. We have places for us to fellowship. We've got classrooms set up for our kids. There is an enormous amount of work to be done, and it's going to take the entire village working together. And so all we ask of you right now is to start prayerfully considering how you can serve with us as we make this transition. And then next week, we will have the booth set up and online forms for you to fill out so we can see how we can use your gifts and skill sets. And then with that, we will start providing regular updates about what our transition is going to look like, what to expect, where to go, who to reach out to for more questions. So we promise that information is coming, but please, please, please prayerfully consider how you can partner with us in this next chapter. Next thing we want to remind you about is that today is our last combined class with Dan Knight, which is in the teen wing. And so if you don't know where that is, just follow the mob of people that goes downstairs, because it's been very well attended, and we're super excited for that final opportunity with Dan. And then next Sunday, we will be back in our age-specific classes looking at the early church, and that will carry us through December 3rd. And with that, I'm going to pass it over. Oh, no, sorry, giving, then reach. Continue to help us in this journey by giving online, in person, or mailing your checks to Teresa in the office. And I'm going to have Tim come up and talk more about reach.
Good morning. Also wanted to tell Zach thank you. When he asked what the song that comes to mind, the one I thought of was Even If by Mercy Me. The premise of the song is real simple, and I won't take up much time, but the premise of the song is from the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or if you had kids in the early 2000s, Rack, Shack, and Benny. But no matter what happens, no matter what turmoil, strife, even death occurs, I will not bow the knee to anyone but our Father. And that is, especially with us going through what we're going through in our season of life, that song means a lot. So. Next week is Pledge Sunday. I hope you're excited about that. Quick question, a little show of hands. How many have been here since the Todds went to Thailand? Don't even ask me what year. I don't even know. It's almost 30 years ago. I do know that. Almost 30 years. How about the Millers going to Tanzania? Okay. All right. How about Taylor moving over to the Argentine community? A lot of you better raise your hand on that one. It hadn't been that long. Everybody knows our missionaries, and it's an exciting time for us to have Pledge Sunday and Celebration Sunday, which is next Sunday. We're going to have it out in the lobby. We will have prizes that we're going to give away. So you'll get some tickets, and you'll put them in there and get ready for the drawing. I can promise you they're really, really good and exciting, and they're apropos to our mission locations. So I hope that you will join us next Sunday. We'll have food out there. Susan Fagan is spearheading that, and it will, as always, it will be good. Our goal this year is $226,000. That is for all 5 of our missionaries. Now, I want to kind of clarify some things. That does not come out of the general budget. It does not come out of the funds of the sale of this building. It does not even come out of the funds of the interest gained on that money as we look for our new location. This is solely out of your gifts, your pledges, and your donations to the works around the world. So I ask that you prayerfully consider, as Pledge Sunday, we'll have pledge cards out there, we'll have prizes we're going to give away, we'll have booths set up or tables set up for each of our mission locations so you can learn more. And I ask that you prayerfully consider as we enter into this season of pledges for next year. Because regardless of where we will be, our mission to join in the work of Jesus will not stop. It will continue, and God will bless it. So I ask that you pray about it. I ask that as you get ready to give and to indicate what you're going to give, that you will do so. We also have these cards set out as you walk out and to the left. These are set out for you to encourage our missionaries. We will send these out at the end of the month. And last week it was really cute. I peeked in the boxes, and I know it was some little kid being very encouraging, and it was just a bunch of scribbles on each card placed in each box. And I know it was a meaningful thing. I just have no clue what it said. But we will get that to our missionaries. So offer them a word of encouragement. Angela Mosby put these together for the missions committee, and they are birthdays of each of our missionaries, so you can send them a birthday card. You can drop it in there, and we'll make sure that they get it. So come ready next week to have a great time. We'll have it after our worship time, and during the class time, we'll have it all set up for you to be able to enjoy and to honor our missionaries. And now we're going to have a video. This is 2 of them put together, and enjoy the video.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Caleb Allen, and I go to Northwest Missouri State. yeah, so I was just going to talk a little bit about what STUMO's done for me and kind of what Dallas has done in my life. I found STUMO my freshman year and got involved and met Dallas that year. And so ever since then, my faith is pretty surface level. I feel like I would call myself a Christian, but was living a life set apart from that. And so when I met Dallas, he very kindly and patiently worked with me to show that the way I was living, I'd call myself a Christian, but wasn't living that life. And so STUMO and Dallas have just really given me so many great opportunities to grow in my faith. I'd say the biggest thing has been like Kaleo over the summer, where I made that commitment, SMC, the conference that we have, and then just a lot of the small Bible studies that he's equipped me with to really, I learned that I was still living for the world, but then also just the vision then to what I'm called to do, and that's to labor for others. And so now I'm looking right now at this year, my senior year. I'm doing Bible studies, and I'm reading with guys individually and sharing my faith with others, sharing the gospel message to lost people in my fraternity. And so, Dallas has just done so much for me as well as STUMO. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that that I found that and invested in that during my years at school. And so that's all I wanted to say.
Hello, Overland Park Church of Christ. This is Sean here in Thailand. I wanted to talk about how God doesn't just call us, but that it is an ongoing journey. I was baptized at the OP Church back in 1982. One thing I'm learning right now today is God works on less than ideal days, like when you have a head cold. Hey, gorgeous. This is my wife, Pat. She became a Christian back in 1985 at Abilene Christian University. What is God teaching you these days, Pat?
Hope. Because people that I spend time with came from different backgrounds. And some of them is just like, oh no. But there's always hope. God can change people. God gives hope to us. And the best hope is eternal life. Thank you.